What is up, Raffalitos? Welcome back to my channel. We are back in this neighborhood. This is South Rhinebeck Gardens. We're looking at the traffic circle here at South Rhinebeck Gardens. That is the big bird. So this is the bird that is installed at the traffic circle here at Mandela Avenue and Heroes Highway. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning. In the distance, you can see that is the 4 Points Hotel by Sheraton. 4 Points by Sheraton. Somebody asked me to do an update on this neighborhood because I hadn't covered it in a long time. So this is Mandela Avenue West, looking west towards the river. This used to be called the Back Road. And since the last time we've been here, this building, now actually this building, I used to misidentify it, but now I know the owner is the same as the owner of Car Care. So Car Care, the company that does car imports and car sales and repairs and detailing, that company owns this building. I'm not so sure what it is. It might be a residential building, or it might be one of their other company buildings. Next to that is the new Citizens Bank. Right, we were looking at this bank while it was under construction. Now it has been completed, and they've done all the landscaping, and the bank is fully operational. So what you'll see is a fully settled, finished bank. It actually does add to the neighborhood. It adds a level of upscale polish, right? It brings the neighborhood up. It adds to the value of the property in the neighborhood, which is how we would say in North America, adds to the property value. So, and next to it is also a building I've shown in the past, but that one is a residential building owned by the same company. I understand that Clifford Reese at Banks DIH owns both buildings. Of course, this one is Car Care. I think the CEO of Car Care is Branford. I think he owns this building. It looks as if it's going to be a multi-unit condominium, but it might be something else. So we're gonna have to wait until it's completed to see what it actually is. But this is the new Citizens Bank. It's now settled into its neighborhood. Like I said, they've done some detailing, some landscaping around the building, so it now fits into the neighborhood. Let's see if we can get closer to it and give you an idea of what it looks like up close. So they've added some landscaping to the building. Right, they've added some landscaping. All right, Citizens Bank. So it has the same architectural features as the bank's main office at Camp Street. That's looking back to the traffic circle from where we've come. It has the same architectural features as the Camp Street office, Camp and South Road. There's another building going up in the neighborhood. I think that one is a residential building though. It looks like a 4 or 5 story concrete structure that's going up in South Rheinbelt Gardens. This is the Citizens Bank, the new Citizens Bank here in South Rheinbelt. In this building, I understand this is actually going to be a residential building, some kind of multi-unit apartment building, and owned by the same company that is owned by Citizens Bank. So this is the back road, or Mandela Avenue, and those buildings have been constructed on what used to be called the Reserve. Now, the last time I was walking on Dennis Street, I mentioned that there is a possible train line, that's a possible route for a train line, and that's the train line running along Dennis Street could take you all the way downtown, because there is one straight road from Ogle all the way to Lamaha Street. Now, the parallel reserve or right of way is actually this reserve. Unfortunately, they've constructed these buildings on the reserve, but this reserve also stretches all the way to Ogle. So the original plan of the city, this was supposed to be a reserve strip of land from the river, from the Demerara River, all the way to Ogle, and it would have been the return route for the train line. I still think it can be, right? So what they would have to do now is to build the train line elevated above Mandela Avenue. So this is Mandela Avenue, or the back road, and it stretches all the way to the river, right? This road goes all the way to the Demerara River. And they could actually build an elevated line, about, let's say 20 feet off the ground, about 6 meters in the air, or even higher, and build that elevated line all the way to Ogle, and it would be the return line for the Dennis Street line. Of course, to complete that circuit, I would take it along the riverbank from Lamaha Street, that embankment where the train line used to be. I would take it along the riverbank all the way down to this road. This is Mandela Avenue. And then I would build an intersection right there. Right, I would build an intersection, so there would be a north-south line running along. There'd be a north-south line running along Conversation Tree Road, which is what we were looking at in the last video. And along Conversation Tree Road, it would run north until it north-south until it intersects here at Mandela Avenue, and again at Dennis Street, so that you could get neighborhood access. You would be able to change trains at Dennis Street to get downtown or out to Ogle, and you'd be able to change trains again at this intersection with Mandela Avenue, or go further south to Mary, say. Okay, so that is the idea behind what I was talking about in that video. And to show you that it is feasible is here. The reserve continues. So although the government has actually sold that reserve right? So this company, a communications company, probably GT&T, is occupying the reserve at this end and is using those two buildings, those three buildings are also on the reserve, and there are other buildings on the reserve as you go further east. But here, you can see the reserve is still preserved. There's no building on the reserve. So you could probably put a train station here. That would be one of the stops on the line. And you put another train station in the air, of course, elevated in the vicinity of that junction with Heroes Highway roundabout. That is called vision and planning, and unfortunately it doesn't exist in Guyana, because if you talk to people about this kind of long-term planning, very few people are able to identify, right? But that's what's happening here, guys. So those guys who wanted to see what was happening in this neck of the woods, this is what is happening here on Mandela Avenue in Georgetown, previously known as the back road. It goes all the way, that is east, the western end, goes all the way down to the river, right, goes past Thirst Park, back to the IHS headquarters down there, and then there's a little alleyway that takes you to the river, and at the other end it goes all the way to South Randolph and South Randolph Park, and eventually all the way to Ogo. So that's what's happening here, guys, on the back road. If you want to see more content like this, click like and subscribe. Tell me what you think about the development of a train system that uses the old reserve right-of-way to build elevated lines and create a metro, north-south, east-west metro for Georgetown, Guyana. Share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what the vision is. And as election season comes up and rolls around, remind the politicians of what we want. Later!